Hey, this is Alex. You may hear Whack at the beginning of this episode say that this is the premium zone because originally this episode was going to go on our Patreon. However, we thought it was kind of newsworthy, so we decided to swap it out with the one we recorded for the main feed. You can hear an entire another Western Kabuki episode if you go to patreon.com/Western Kabuki. All right, enjoy the episode. Take it easy.
And we're in the premium zone talking about premium banks with our good friend Ed. How we doing?
What's up?
Big Z.
Oh, I tell you, what a weekend. Getting lots of texts and people being like, did you have your money in Silicon Valley Bank? And I said, no, I had it in a real bank. And Bank of America. But it's the beautiful, corrupt institution that I know won't lose my money because they're busy making it from like, I don't actually know how Bank of America makes their money, but I assume it's very bad.
Yes.
Some blood involved for sure.
Surely just investing in every type of terrible company that makes this world a worse place to live in.
That's right.
But that's a real bank. They're not telling you that there's something
SVB was a real
different.
bank, kind of.
Yes.
Well, he had a charter.
Yeah, which is great. And their deposits are apparently insured by the FDIC. So
Not
you
a lot of
recently
them,
not a lot of them.
Only
So you
4% of them.
Only
get to that.
4%. Oh Christ. I didn't
Okay, fine.
So you just wrote your piece about this situation. Do you mind giving us a little rundown for the listeners?
Oh, God. Okay. So Silicon Valley Bank banked roughly half of American startups, quite a few foreign ones as well. They, like another bank called Silvergate, had basically invested their money in long-term treasury bonds at a time when treasury bonds were at historically low rates. However, they then found themselves, due to the startup economy becoming a little bit spicy in the last year, with a lot of money going out. They then had to sell a bunch of those bonds at a loss because their stinky, nasty old bonds were suddenly now the bonds you could get because the Fed had hiked the interest rates. The bonds you could buy today were, well, a few days ago, I guess, were higher interest rates. You got more for your investment and lower maturity date, meaning that it took less time to make more money, basically. It's kind of a dilution of it, but that gets the job done. So they had to sell about, it was either 1.8 billion or like 22 billion of bonds. Forgive me for not remembering, but they had to sell them they lost $1.8 billion on that sale. They sold them to Goldman Sachs. So what actually then happened was so fucking stupid, it makes me want to scream. Several VCs sent around emails to their portfolio companies saying, hello, everyone, please pull your money from the bank now.
Which, by the way, is a crime, for the record.
It isn't a crime.
To cause a bank run?
No, it's not. That's the thing. They didn't. That's the annoying thing. They didn't say, let's do a bank run. They did not plan one. They told their portfolio companies, yank your money. I don't trust this bank. And then that spread like wildfire throughout the valley and then onto Twitter. And then $42 billion went out of that bank. $42 billion.
Why did all of a sudden it become not trustworthy? Like I don't know.
So
a lot
what
about
had
bank
happened
runs exactly, or this bank in particular?
Oh no, I can explain that. So what happened was someone, I forget which investor did this, but an investor, I think it might have been Fred Wilson, one of his partners or research people said, I don't like how this bank is doing business. I'm worried that they will run out of money. This isn't good. And then Fred Wilson told Union Square Ventures portfolio companies, I believe, let's pull your money out. I don't actually think he even said pull it out. I think he said diversify your money, like move it between different banks, which is fairly standard. The problem is SVB actually was not in trouble until everyone started pulling the money. Most banks do not have all the money on hand. It's fucking terrifying. So $42 billion goes out, SVB shits its pants, the FDIC takes over, and then there is an industry-wide panic over the weekend where everyone's thinking, oh shit, most deposits here, 96%, I believe, of deposits at SVB were actually they were over the $250,000 that the FDIC guarantees. So there was a little bit of time where it kind of looked like most of the startup ecosystem was about to take a huge multi-billion-dollar bath. However, Janet Yellen, and damn was she loud, she came in, Department of Treasury came in, FDIC came in and basically said, we'll guarantee these deposits and it'll come out of a fund that is paid into by all the banks. And so they were saved. And now what's even weirder is SVB is back, baby. They are back. They're operating like a normal bank. And they're like, hey, everyone, put your money back in. We're fully guaranteed by the government. It'll be fine. And everyone is unsurprisingly like, you sure about that?
So
and
there was no real consequences for like this bank at all.
There were and there weren't. So the people, Joe Biden has made it very clear that the executives involved in SVB are going to get their shit pushed in. And I actually believe that will happen because someone's got to pay. Someone has got to pay for this and it will happen. And so then, but what's really come out of this is that nobody likes the tech industry. Nobody likes these little freaks. And I will say this as one of them and someone that works with them. The problem with the tech industry right now is that the loudest, most annoying people, the people that you associate with tech, are not actually the majority of them. In fact, David Sachs, Elon Musk, Jason Calacanis, Mike Solana, none of these people are indicative of most tech people. The problem is they're extremely fucking loud, and there are people like them. And also, the most popular tech stories of the last 10 years have been what? Theranos, Uber, just labor violations and straight up fraud. How about, and no one's really talked about this, but I truly believe that Indiegogo also had its reason. It may have turned people against tech because there was that boom in 2015 where you had a bunch of shit that just never made it out the door. Real people got screwed. And then you had cryptocurrency where real people got screwed again. So no, I don't think the average person is sitting there thinking, man, these people are cool. Tech's so cool. They're thinking, these rich fucks, they got away with it again. They just get their asses wiped whenever they ask.
Yeah, that reminds me when, I think it was a few days ago now, there was like a tech guy on Twitter that made a post that went something like, I should have found it, but it was something like, wow, people, the average person really doesn't like us when we view ourselves as like superheroes. And it's like, well, yeah.
Yes, that is.
that statement alone is why so many people hate you.
But also, there's another thing, which is this bank, had it died, I know it's hard to accept. First of all, not a bailout, not what happened. It's a bank fund, no taxpayer money. But also, had this bank failed, I realized that you think that the rich bastards would have got fucked. No, those guys got their money out first. You realize that's what happened, right? Like that, the smart money leaves before they warn people. You think they were sitting around saying, well, I'm going to give you a head start before I pull my money. No, they yanked all their cash immediately. Yoink. So had the bank gone to shit, the people who would have got washed out, sure, some high net worth individuals, not that high, mostly would have been payroll for companies. Payroll for people making, yeah, more than the average person. Absolutely. Probably starting around 70K, I'd say at the lowest. So not a small amount, but also not like opulent richness. So yeah, you'll definitely have people who are making ridiculous money, don't get me wrong, but it would have led to like tens of thousands of people just losing their jobs immediately and having nowhere to go because 50% of the startups would have lost their money. This sucks because I realized the natural thought is, fuck them, they should die. I get it. I get why you're saying that. I get why people feel this way. Tech has become its own worst enemy in the public view. But the people you fucking hate would not have been the ones that got hurt. Those people, the ones you hate, the rich people, had their money elsewhere and also could have afforded to lose it even if they didn't. And I think that this whole situation is so frustrating because you'd think that tech would be a bit more grateful as well. You think any of these where's Mark Benioff? That fucking Ohana ass motherfucker. Where's Mark Benioff saying how good this is that this happened? You in fucking Hawaii again, you asswipe. Jesus Christ.
But
These people.
if that's the case, that none of these guys would have taken a haircut anyway, why was Jason Calacanis, all caps, freaking out the entire weekend?
Because he's a little worm who loves attention. He wanted to insinuate himself into a story he was uninvolved with. Ron Conway, I believe with SV Angel, he is the one that led the effort to make it work. And I hear Ron as decent as you can call a venture capitalist. Never had a bad interaction with him, only heard good things from him. Like, and he is the one that led like the Kamala Harris Obama thing. Like, he's the one that got the thing done. He is the one that actually put that together.
What thing?
The whole bailout, quote unquote, the FDIC. He's the one that pulled that effort together. Jason Calacanis went on Twitter and was like, "It was me. I did this. Look at me. Looks like the fucking baby man from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs." Fucking nasty little shit. Not an arse he won't kiss in service of his own brand. Remember when he was kissing up to Elon fucking Musk a few months ago? Oh, Elon, make me CEO. Ooh, daddy. Ooh. And David Sachs was out there. So funny. So fucking funny. Real piece of crap, that guy. Going out saying, look, even libertarians know a government should stop a bank run. What are you talking about, you horse's ass?
No.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Watching people dunk on him in particular was a really fun part of this process this last week.
Good.
Yeah, people just digging up old tweets like this you.
Yeah, from like a week ago. It wasn't like a deep excavation.
He's the one who was like panic tweeting like immediately he had like an emergency pod. He had like
must
six
have had money in there. I think him and Jason, I obviously no way to confirm this. I'm 100% sure they had some sort of reason to do this. It wasn't about the startup. Like Gary Tan, who I wish I could just remove the politics part of his brain, because every time I've talked to Gary, he seems decent, and he's like, Jessa Bowden needs to be put in jail, and it's like, oh man, come on, mate, you got to fucking stop. But he is the one who was like, listen, startups are going to be fucking destroyed if we don't fix this. David Sachs was just like, the government needs to save the bank. He wasn't even like, oh, I must save the stars. Like, no, the government must save our beautiful bank. I love you, bank. Kiss me. No idea how he talks.
No, I think you got it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I was pretty entertained at the number of libertarians who suddenly think that government aid is actually necessary and important in a functioning society. Well, what has happened? Okay, so what has happened since the weekend, since all the panic
SVB
and the bank run?
So SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, was turned into a new bank, which is basically the same bank. They put the guy who, forget his name, the guy who pulled Freddie Mac out, or Fannie Mae out of the toilet in the 2008 crisis. He was the one that they just shoved in there and went like, you fucking clean this up. I don't know. So he's used to taking broken shit and trying to make something work with it. So SVB is back, baby. It's back in POG form. And
I didn't realize that. I knew that there was like technically, so it's not technically a bailout, like a taxpayer bailout, correct?
It's a levy, or I forget what they call it, but basically it's a fund that all of the banks pay into.
Okay. So it's like car insurance on like a banking level.
Basically, yes. It's so that what it's meant to be is a harsh warning to the banks. Don't do exactly what happened here. Do not do this, because you'll all fucking pay for it. And still the banks did it. The banks, God bless the banks, just like not fucking learning a single goddamn thing. But actually, this is very different to what happened in the financial crisis before, because what happened there was, I'm showing my ass here about how stupid I am, but basically they invested in buying mortgage-backed securities, and the mortgages themselves were to complete shit. In this case, it was SVB genuinely wouldn't have shuttered had all the VCs not freaked out. No solidarity, zero solidarity. They don't give a fuck about each other. They don't give a fuck about... And there are plenty of VCs I've known who are decent people, don't seem to just invest in like the children crushing machine or the SaaS product necessary to run the children crushing machine. But they seem like those ones are just drowned out by the David Sachs and Jason Calacanis of the world. These people who have this insane hero complex where they're like, oh, we're special. You're not fucking special. You're not. You're not. Be happy with your job.
These tech startups are so special for putting fees on delivery apps.
I think
people are so special.
I think they are special, but not in the way they mean. They're special. They're special in a way that should be kept away from society, not empowered. But that's the problem. Most of tech is quite boring. Most of tech is like software for sales or like construction management and stuff like that. Just stuff that is not particularly sexy. It has a need. It exists for a reason. But then you get the loud, annoying stories. And frankly, what has the tech industry brought the world recently? That's the big thing that I wish the tech industry would wake up to. 20 years ago, we got fucking cell phones. We've got watches and shit. We got cool things. Even Uber at the beginning was approaching a legal company. They had to work within the delivery laws. They were called Uber Car at the time, I believe, or Uber Cab, I forget. They only had delivery services. Had Uber started off as a company where they just said, this is going to be more expensive than a regular cab because we actually have to make this a business that doesn't destroy lives. And had they done that, had they like set a fucking minimum wage for it and made it more expensive for the customer, which would have meant it grew slower, Uber could actually genuinely have been a genuine change for the world. Instead, what happened was they saddled up and I'd say they lobbied if that actually was what happened. What happened was they just fucking crushed their way. They just launched in cities and local councils were just like, what the fuck do we do here? Shit, everyone's using it. Shit. We like these guys now. And that's why you have Instacart, DoorDash, and all those paying people threepence as they wade through. There was like rainstorms a few years ago where like a poor DoorDash guy was like waist deep in water. That guy didn't get a tip. You know it. Yeah. You know that motherfucker receiving that order was like, and now from 10% to 0 because my order was late.
Exactly.
All of Silicon Valley genuinely could have. I really do think Uber was an inflection point where Silicon Valley could have genuinely actually changed the world. But what they chose was greed. And now there are so many in the Valley who are just like, why don't people like us? Don't they know what we've done for them? Without ever asking, what do they think we've done for them and what have we actually done for them? And the answer is usually fuck all.
Right. And that is the thing that I've seen from them is just that like sort of bald-faced shock where I think the rest of us, me personally for a long time, and I think it's been something that people are talking about, like it very much feels like they are done for a long period of time, that we're not going to, like, whatever they think they can promise us. A lot of these products are just basically reskins of a different product and a way to financialize like a part of my normal life. And I am wondering, like, do you think that this is like the beginning of the end for these fuckers? Or no, you don't think that?
Anyone who thinks that, I got some bad news. Well, nothing changes.
Okay.
Nothing's going to change from this. Nothing. I think there are some good things that could come from it in the sense that this probably won't be allowed to happen again because it was expensive and annoying and a lot of people got embarrassed. But also, I do think that you're going to see, it's going to take a minute. You're going to see you're going to see a huge schism in the Valley. You're going to see the reactionary fuckwits like David Sachs. Pause there, though. Real quick thing. You want to know how David Sachs made his money? He sold a company called Yammer to Microsoft. Twitter for work. It was a god-awful product.
Oh, man.
He got so rich from that. Then he went and took over a company called Zenefits, which had fallen apart because it was run terribly and there were people fucking in the stairwells. I am not kidding.
Oh, no. I didn't know how this guy was famous. I did a
SaaS conference once, and I made a joke saying that the band was called Friends with Xenophites. I have never heard a quieter room in my life. I drank my entire glass of wine. And as I was walking out, some guy said, "Yeah, I think the British guy was drunk." And I said, "What do you fucking say?" And my friend was like, "No, we're going, man." We're going, man. I'm not even, I just yelled that so that the guy would look around the corner for the rest of his life. But you're going to get these reactionary types like Sachs who are going to keep being like they are because they have an alarming amount of power because they have a podcast called the All In Podcast that fucking sucks.
God.
Yeah, but it's like really popular. However,
They have their own little designation on Twitter now too. By the way.
how'd they get their own little
separate-
badge on there?
because they
Yeah, I
all
saw that
fucking
shit.
love Elon Musk and Elon Musk loves them. He's like, "I love the podcast."
So is that all it
This
takes?
is
Just like
epic.
Elon Musk enough, and
Yeah.
you
You
can
just have to be his
get-
friend. You just have to
It's
hug
so
him
that,
and kiss
because
him.
Elon Musk, when he took over Twitter, was just like, "Yes, David, Jason, please do all the work. I've never run a business before." "Well, didn't you run Tesla, sir?" "Well, no." So, but people like that, they did get kind of embarrassed here. And no one really looks on them fondly. And in fact, there were people in the tech industry who were like, "Oh, God, ooh, yeah." So I do think you're going to get some reflection. I do think there is going to be a move to try and be less reactionary. I don't want to get ahead of myself and say it will be a powerful movement. I don't want to say it's going to be successful, but I think things are going to change because there are a lot of people who are just relieved to still have money. There are
Well, I think it's going to make the next election either more annoying or more funny. It
I
remains to be
actually
seen.
believe it won't. I don't think, because look at what the right has done here. They were like, well, the problem with Silicon Valley Bank is it was gay and woke. It was also, there were people of color in it.
Yeah.
and two veterans.
I fucking love that, like the woke bank. They got nothing left. They got no ideology. They're just like, think it's woke and chuggy.
Yeah. Thanks,
really
Gary.
know.
Fuck it.
I want to know how many people actually buy into that. Like the people that watch, it has to be like
Millions.
small.
That's the talking point for the common cat turd reply guy is that the banks are gay and woke now.
But like
Which is-
in real life, like real life people, who
Yeah,
the
I don't
hell, who the hell is gonna like recite that?
I have to watch Tucker Carlson to find out, and I'm not going to do
But
that.
I genuinely think those people, because you can point at things, you can point at like tangible things and say, you're mad at this. But what is woke? No one really knows. Bethany Mandel doesn't know. No one knows
And she
what
wrote the
woke.
woke book.
She wrote the woke book. Like, no one really knows, and you can't talk to. It just vaguely means like we don't actively murder trans people. I think like it doesn't really make any sense, and it's changed every 2 minutes, and it gets very like they were DeRay. What's his name? Jordan Ferguson riots. Like riots the wrong word. I want to class that as the time when the police militarized against innocent people protesting. Just to be abundantly fucking clear, he was wearing a Twitter "Stay Woke" shirt. Like that word's been around a minute.
Yes.
But nevertheless, I think that there is going to be, the Valley is now potentially seeing that, our loudest fuckwits are really stupid. No one is impressed anymore. It used to be you could pretend that people were impressed. But in the last year, you've gone from, you've got the electric car man, he's cool, to, oh no, the electric car man may very well be one of the dumbest people to walk this earth. This person may not know how to turn a car on, let alone make one.
Yeah, I mean that sentiment definitely has grown, especially in like the liberal circles. Like I've talked to people in real life, like adults in their like 50s and 60s that are like, oh, this Elon Musk guy, he's kind of weird and problematic and probably not very smart. And it's like
even a few
20 years, like 10 years ago, like liberal suburbanites are like his prime demographic as like a customer. And
I used to think he was cool like 10 years ago because I did not know fucking anything. I was just like, this guy brought car electric, cool. And then
he was the king of Reddit.
But he wasn't even on Reddit. He didn't even post. He's the king of stealing JPEG compressed images from Reddit. Like, but getting back to my meandering point, which is 20, 10, 15, whatever you call it. Steve Jobs dying was really the beginning of the problem. That was the beginning of the Valley not being quite as fun, because it used to be every year Steve Jobs got up and said, just one more thing. And he'd fart out his mouth and we'd buy whatever he sold. And there used to be something cool about that. You were like, okay, Steve Jobs, and it would usually be cool. Apple shit's cool. I'm sorry. I like it. I like my phone. I like my watch. It's cool. And then Steve Jobs dies and Tim Cook takes over and he seems respectable enough. And yet, what's really come out of Apple that's fun? Okay, so we can't rely on Apple. So we've got Tesla. Let's see what Tesla's up to. Oh, the Model 3 came out, the first really affordable electric car. Where is the heads-up display behind the wheel? Oh, it isn't there. It isn't there at all. You have to look at a screen in the middle of your car while you were driving the car forwards. Great.
I saw that. Like I saw like a video of that, and I mean that seems like the most atrocious thing of all time.
It is.
Like, I'm sorry, but I do
so
not want to look
bad
at a screen to see any of my dashboard.
And so, okay, so virtual reality. We've got Oculus Rift. Okay, cool. Oh, this sucks. This sucks so bad. Even the good one sucks. I'm sorry. I tried to play Half-Life Alyx. I felt weird. It looked weird. I had to adjust it. I hated every fucking moment of it. God damn it.
It makes you sick if you've been playing for too long.
I wanted to play a Half-Life game so bad. I was so excited. No, nothing. Trash, dog shit. Okay, so now what? What other shit have we got? Oh, I can call a car from my phone. That's cool. Wait a minute. This seems to be destroying people's lives. So by participating in this service that has now become necessary because America has extremely poor public transport in almost every major metro, depending on where you look. Oh, cool. So I'll take a regular cab. Oh, those are also bad. Okay, so everything's bad on transportation, so I just am now interacting with a shitty system. Again, what has tech brought me, though? What has tech done that has truly changed my life, and my being very general here? All right, I'm looking around my desk right now, and I'm really looking for like cool tech shit that happened in like the last 10 years, and I see an inductive charger. I can put my phone and charge it by clicking it onto a magnet. That's pretty cool. I guess this Rodecaster thing I'm looking at, that I can plug a microphone into it, that's very old technology. I got a 4K monitor, but that's the thing. What has tech done for the average person? Fuck all. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's been a minute before.
Like the first thing I think of when I think of like modern tech, and it's I mean, there is good things, but the first thing I do think of is, I mentioned this before, just like the amount of fees on everything. Like you look at Ticketmaster, it's like, oh, you pay $30.
But that's not even tech. That's a different kind of fuckery. That's straight up just monopolies that the government needs to destroy.
But I feel like
dynamic pricing.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of developed.
That.
I just feel like fees on top of fees. Because I mean, even with some of these apps, like delivery apps, like DoorDash.
Oh yeah,
same deal as like Uber in a lot of ways. But then it's like, oh, they're price gouging you, and you're paying like $40 more than just like calling the location itself.
Well, no, it's actually worse than that, because no, you can't call the place, because the places are usually, if not in an exclusivity deal, they will not take even like credit card. And if you call them on the phone, at least in my case, my accent gets in the way of almost every phone interaction I've ever had in this country, which isn't anyone's fault but my own. But yeah, it is easier to order on an app. It's easier to get your order right. And for that, both the place you're getting delivery from, and the delivery person and the customer gets fucked. The only person that doesn't get fucked is the tech company. And again, what really is technological about that? They just built the fucking delivery layer. The actual work is done by other people. Mm-hmm. The revenue generated through confusing and nebulous fees. The delivery done by a person. The food made by another person. None of these people involved in actually making any money, really, because they're getting ram-fucked by these companies. And then bringing up Indiegogo again, there used to be so many cool things in Indiegogo, and the reason there were is all of them were fake. Yeah, we got a cooler that has a blender, that has a fridge. Yeah, none of that shit made it out like half.
The coolest. Shout out to the coolest.
But that's the thing. That's another thing where people said, oh, shit. Oh, wait a second. Now, here's a good one. I'm going to be able to, instead of getting my blood drawn, I'm going to be able to just get a single prick in my finger. And I will be able to at any Walgreens, except all of it was made up because Theranos was a big fucking scam, which could have very easily been broken through due diligence.
Yeah, that's something I learned about Theranos, because I think that like most of the developments of that one kind of happened when I was a bit younger.
Right.
So I watched like an hour-long video talking about like the whole history, actually by Jay Aubrey, somebody who we just had on. He made a video about Theranos, and just seeing some of the lies and just like you see so many parallels today of
how did nobody fucking catch that?
Yeah, like
also,
some of that stuff is so egregious. It's actually insane.
And you know who was on the board of Theranos?
What was that?
Henry Kissinger.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Friend of the pod.
I must be clear that any amount of due diligence would have stopped that company from existing. And now you think, okay, well, they definitely learned their lesson with the lack of due diligence, which is why when cryptocurrency came along, well, first and foremost, let's be clear.
The screams due diligence like cryptocurrency.
Well, also, they did their due diligence for some of it in the sense that they didn't have to because they were like, the laws don't exist. We'll just invest in this shit. And it's too long to explain at length, but let me put it like this. They knew how fucked that system was from the beginning. They knew that they could pump the prices and basically do insider trading without ever really having. Look at every company that's ever been invested in by Coinbase Ventures. Look how they go on Coinbase when they come out at a higher price, and then the investors dump their tokens onto the people. Doesn't really happen anymore.
It's every single coin though. Like every time they came out, it would have a huge spike for like 5 minutes, and then the bottom would immediately drop out, and it was so obvious.
Some of them you'd get a day or two. But the point I'm making is due diligence though. Then, of course, there was FTX. Now, had a single person gone to Sam Bankman-Fried's Bahamian fuckpad and looked at anything, and they'll say, oh, well, what happened there was Sam had a hidden system. Did you look at the fucking bank account, dickhead? Did you look at the money? No. We let him put it on the Miami Heat Stadium, though.
Can I ask you a question, Ed? That this is a simpleton question, but when, for instance, like with SVB, every transaction involved is reported to the FTC. What about FTX? Like, what are the reporting requirements?
Back up for a second. What do you mean it's reported to the FTC?
So, like, I was watching on fucking MSNBC at work this morning about how they're going to say they were talking about, well, we're going to be able to figure out exactly who was responsible. We're going to be able to figure out exactly who did what. If there was insider trading, we have all the records. How does that apply to somebody like our Sam Bankman-Fried or FTX or these crypto guys?
I mean, no one got to report shit to fuck when it came to FTX. There was nothing like that. There was no reporting at all. They just made stuff up. People were signing deals based on a Google sheet.
Yeah.
Imagine how hard is it for the average person to get a fucking mortgage? But Sam Bankman-Fried could raise $200 million by going, check out this Google sheet. And people would just throw money at him. When it fucking fell apart, though, it was just so nakedly broken. Had one of these companies that put billions or millions or whatever, no one put billions, it was hundreds of millions, tens of billions, into this exchange, they could have gone, may I see your bank accounts? And if Sam Bankman-Fried said no, they could then say, okay, well, we're going to decline until you do, because just want to make sure you're actually operating like a financial institution and not just an insane polycule-backed Bahamian fuckfest.
See, that's the thing that like gets me about a lot of these like operations is it seems like in retrospect, it's like, oh, how did any of this happen for so long? It's like you'd think that it would be found out so fast
because enough people got rich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because really it seems like that's the only areas where tech really has succeeded. For the consumer, not so much, as you were saying, Ed. There's some cool stuff here and there, but nothing really. But what I think of like tech advancement in the last decade, I think, damn, my boss can spy on me at my computer while I'm working from home. They know everything that I'm doing on my fucking computer. They can, when I have to do any sort of assessments or anything like that, they can turn on my webcam and take control of my computer. They know every keystroke that I make. That's what tech has done for me in the last decade.
Yep.
And to go even further, I mean, with Ring cameras,
Yes.
like with how it's like connected to the cloud and the partnership what Amazon has with like police, like law enforcement, you can just be spied on. Like any police department can just see what you recorded. Like that's insane.
Or like the Alexa scandals.
Well, they can't just, to be clear, they can't just see. The police do not have direct access. And also, don't be angry at Ring. Be angry at Palantir.
Okay.
Palantir, the secretive data company that no one really knows what they do, but they help the police, quote unquote, catch criminals. That one's scary. That's some real psycho shit. Or perhaps be angry about the fact that tech really has not made an effort to stop companies like Spokio and Telly been verified and the like from just sharing your information with whoever has $25. Because those companies, the data brokers, have existed for some time. That is one where the government needs to put some fucking rules in place and basically make those companies illegal. But also, my larger point I'm making here is all of this would be almost forgivable if there was some cool shit to go with it.
We need our treats.
I'm serious,
agree more.
Though.
Truly
I'm serious.
agree
Like
more.
we forgive the NFL for nearly killing a guy every so often because it's entertaining. If tech because tech used to have a lot of cachet when it was Steve Jobs showing us the iPad, Elon Musk showing us the Model S. When it was cool stuff that people could say, okay, these people need money to build the future. That's inspiring. That's a narrative you can buy and sell. It's something you can look at and have hope for and excitement about. You look at what tech's done in the last 10 years, and to your numerous points, it's added fees. You can get your treats way faster. That is one thing tech has done. But the cost, fiscally for us and societally for the people working for these companies, is severe. And it would be, you know what, if tech had turned around after this SVB thing and been like, oh, I'm sorry, that actually would be quite attractive, I actually think. People love contrition. They love an underdog story where someone who fucked up apologizes and does things better. But that would involve them apologizing and then doing better, which does not appear to be on the cards quite yet. But also, seriously, so many people loud on Twitter in the tech industry go on about how they should be treated special. Do something. Sorry, that's my cat. Do something special. Do fucking something for a normal person. Put those hundreds of millions of dollars into doing something fucking cool, into something interesting. I don't even know what it is.
I was going to ask, what do you suggest? Because
well, have either of you guys heard?
It's not my fucking job.
Neither of you guys have heard of the Cybertruck? I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, I wanted
looks
to
like a
drive the
Nintendo
cars.
64 car came real.
When I first saw that, when I recently watched Total Recall, the original one, for the first time.
Oh,
and seeing
yeah,
some of
hell
those
yeah.
cars, I was like, oh my god, Elon Musk just wanted to make the cars in Total Recall.
No,
That's
somebody
just-
showed him like a concept art, and he did not even have an original thought. Somebody else was
Yeah.
like, "This would be cool if you made this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What this seems broadly sort of analogous is another, this story of like SVB's collapse and the subsequent whining reminds me of a story that's sort of happening in reverse with Mr. Beast, where all these people are like, this uncanny little freak, myself included, this uncanny little freak just goes out there and like does these weird stunts that benefit like 6 guys. I mean, I know the blindness thing was more than that, but it's still like, it's always seemed weird to me, but he has so many defenders because he can just turn around and say, well, I'm helping people. And it's worked for him so insanely well. And the tech industry, on the other hand, is like, you motherfuckers need to wait for our innovation. We will have that ready for you shortly. In the meantime, we invented an app that can remind you to get the mail out of your mailbox. That will be $2,000, please.
Yeah.
That's the thing with like Mr. Beast, though, is he understands the need for like a parasocial like base. Like he understands.
He's actually a pretty good marketer.
Yeah,
with
he's
that
smart.
weird
I mean,
smile of his.
You can't say he's not smart. He's a
No.
genius. I mean, he really is. You have to hand it to him there. He understands the system in like a really weird way for like a
And
24-year-old.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. He is 24. Is that true?
Yeah, he's 24.
Christ, I thought he was
He
in
looks
his
so
30s.
much older.
No,
That's
yeah.
fucking horrifying.
He looks like he's in his 30s. That's fucking terrifying.
Late 30s. He was born yet 98.
Wow. You could have told me that he was older than me, and I would have been like, yeah.
See, that's what I found stunning when I found out he was like younger than me. Even I was like, what the fuck? No way.
Wow. He's also Ed's nemesis because he also he's got the smile. I don't know what kind of smile or how to describe
he
the
has
smile,
this
but he's
weird,
got the smile.
gawless grin that looks truly awful. I'm not saying mine looks
It's
great.
menacing. It haunts me.
It is threatening. I just want to
Gormless
meet
grin
someone who
is
watches this, and I want to hear from someone who watches Mr. Beast who can just tell me why. Why do you what is the entertainment value of this guy going, I've euthanized 2,000 cats, putting them out of their misery. Like, well, I've recreated Squid Game. Like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Yet they immediately go to like his line of like, he helps people. And it's like, I'm not arguing that. I want to know why you want to watch this in the first place. And they're like, he helps people. You're being a hater. And it's like, oh, okay.
I don't want to consume media where somebody's giving a homeless man like $1,000 or whatever. That doesn't make me feel good. It just makes me feel sad.
Yeah. It feels like those articles that are like, this 90-year-old man did this thing at Walmart and it warms our hearts. It's like, this man is working at 90 years old at Walmart. What do you mean warms our hearts? Yeah. Like, how is this heartwarming?
Yeah, it's Mr. Beast isn't even a tech problem. That's just a media problem.
Yeah.
That's
No,
a
I
whole
was just
separate
saying,
thing.
We
like the
meandered a little bit.
messaging. Yeah, the
No.
messaging on the Mr. Beast thing, the tech people could learn a little bit from that uncanny weird freak so that they can start to get in the good graces of some normal people and not the kind of guys who will spam the absolute worst memes you've ever seen in your entire life in the replies.
I just feel like, even think about back to YouTube. YouTube is cool. Like, YouTube's cool, but that's old now. Even, you know what the other thing is? Tech seems to be making the things we like worse. Instagram used to be a place for following photos. Now it's a place for sometimes seeing photos you want to see, and most of the time seeing videos of shit Facebook wants to sell you.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Or shit
insane.
they just stole off TikTok. Like, it's not good anymore. It's
Yeah.
an awful app. Terrible.
Yeah, I mean that's been the story with like every single like social media or app or just anything. Is it
Google sucks now. Searching for things is
the
bad.
worst.
Oh my
Does
God.
anyone
Everything.
Google, like,
Why would people like tech now? What is there that we should be grateful for? And if the answer is, well, your computer, fuck off. None of you people are part of that. None of you fucking people. None of you work. If you work for
I
Apple,
hate my computer now. I used to love going on.
I love my computer. It's a Mac. My Mac's been working great. I'm very happy with my Mac. But also, Mac has been an Apple thing. That's just Apple. What else are you fucking people working on? Because if they didn't have this very entitled, very demanding attitude, I would not be that mad.
Yeah, actually,
I would just be like,
completely
fine,
agree
you
with
do a job, whatever.
Yeah, living in an area where a lot of people have kind of done a tech exodus, Tacoma, Washington. We're Seattle, obviously a lot of tech, but there was a kind of a lot of flight from California up here the last 5 years or so, to the point where Tacoma was actually the number one real estate market, like quarter over quarter, 3 quarters in a row over the span of like 2 years in the entire country of like the hottest growing market. And prices went up, and you couldn't afford to buy a house here. And 10 years ago, Tacoma was a dump that was always on cops, and everybody made fun of you if you lived there. And now it's like this like tech utopia. And all the people that move up here, all they do is they complain about how all the locals fucking hate them, which is true. And then they complain about the weather, which they're right. But fuck them. That, you know, everybody, there's like this entitled attitude for the tech people that relocate here that's hard to pin down.
The exact same thing happened in Austin. My brother lives in Nashville. He said it's happening there as well. it's just this thing where these guys have like such a chip on their shoulder, and I think in a large part, just as like somebody who has observed, I think a big part of the image problem that the Silicon Valley has is that they aren't even what Mark Zuckerberg was pretending to be 15 years ago. They aren't even the plucky little nerds. These are literally just all Patrick Bateman guys, and literally like pretending to be Patrick Bateman and talking about how cool like Wolf of Wall Street is and shit. These are those guys.
They're not even like the Patrick Bateman guys, because those Patrick Bateman guys are scary. They're actually scary. They'll actually kill someone. They'll poison someone to make money.
They'll stuff the cat into the ATM. These guys will not.
These guys will just complain.
Bold of you to say that about that Peter Thiel wouldn't take a man's life without blinking.
Yeah, Peter Thiel is a real one. He actually, I would not want to be in a room with him. He's genuinely scary.
So we have talked about a few of these sort of like as you were talking about like Uber before they became this vampiric hellscape and these other things. So I do want to ask you about this recent big tech merger in which BlaBlaCar has acquired Klaxit.
Yeah, I think that this is probably the most important story in tech right now. BlaBlaCar has acquired Klaxit. And at that point, I no longer know anything else. I have not opened the article. I will not learn what this means.
Oh, I did read the article, and it makes it even worse.
Please elaborate on what BlaBlaCar and Klaxit.
Do you guys want to know? Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say, I love how literally none of those words in that like article title were in the Bible. Like not a single word in that. Not a single one.
So I just wanted to know what the story was with these companies. I didn't finish the article because I just didn't want to have a stroke. But BlaBlaCar, they're both European companies. So BlaBlaCar is a company where if you want to go on a road trip, but you don't enjoy things like friendship and having good music and being comfortable in your own space, what you can do is rent a seat in somebody else's car when they drive across the country on a long road trip. That's what they do. So it's pegged as an alternative to trains or buses when you want to travel to another city for a vacation or if you want to visit your family. That's BlaBlaCar.
So they have decided to become a middleman in the hitchhiking industry. It's like every single
dude, yeah.
Every single one of these things is like, what if you paid me $15 a month for your grandmother's cookie recipe? And it's like, my grandmother, I'm paying you for my grandmother's cookie recipe? It's just all the same shit. It's Uber but for road trips. That's bananas. Like, hey, can I bum a ride with you? I'm going to pay this guy like $30.
What are these companies? I'm so tired.
Well, Klaxit is another funny one too, because it's the same idea.
Sounds like a fucking bad guy from Ratchet and Clank.
Klaxit is the same idea, but it's within the same city, so you can like carpool to work ostensibly, which would be fine if these weren't in like European cities that actually have trains and public transportation. So it's completely useless.
So you do it in Europe to copyright the silly name, and then you come to America where you know the real money and the real scumbags are.
I don't know. I'm gonna slash the tires of every Klaxit car I see.
If I see it's on site for every Klaxit.
Woo! I can't wait for the day I see one of those.
Yeah, Ed, when you shared that tweet, I had to read it like two and a half times. I was like,
I read it to myself for 10 minutes.
I really thought it was a joke, and then I had to actually click the article. I just could not believe that.
Did you enter like a fugue state?
I did.
Yeah.
I posted the SpongeBob Mr. Krabby's meme. That's from like 10 years ago, whatever. But the SpongeBob Mr. Krabby's meme where he's like, he's dizzy because he's got
yeah.
That's what I felt like.
I immediately sent it to David Roth. because usually I just say I send him any and all confusing things just so that it can hurt him, because I love my friend.
So we have a couple of things here we could go into in terms of Signature Bank or some of the lesser demons below Peter Thiel's VC pervertry.
Well, Signature, it's a good place for us to wrap up, actually, because
cool.
What's interesting is a bank called Silvergate also died.
Mm-hmm.
They died again. They bought long-term securities when they shouldn't have, and also in their case, they were one of the major banks of crypto, and thus
like
when
the biggest one in the
went,
country, or maybe the world, even, right?
It was them and the other one that died, Signature.
Yeah, I had them both.
So in the case of both of those bank, in the case of Silvergate, they just were killed. They were shot dead. The government just put them in the ground, and I don't know if they actually got bailed out. Like, no one's really talking about Silvergate. Like,
that's a dark Brandon moment right there.
No, but just no one's talking about it because there were much more big things. So what was weird was Signature Bank. The government just went, yeah, this doesn't look good. We're going to shut it. And they did. They like buried it in the Silicon Valley. They were just like, hey, we saved both of these banks. This one's Signature. Yeah, they just kind of, well, they did. They just mentioned it.
Yeah, in the press release, it was like they just threw that in the liner notes that we're also doing this. I was like, wait, I don't know. I'm too dumb to know that what's going on there, but I also know that when they throw that in like 3/4 the way through a press release, it's probably they don't really want you to look at it for some reason, which I guess we'll find out later. But one funny thing about Signature Bank is on the board was our good friend Barney Frank of Dodd-Frank fame.
Yeah. Oh, God.
That's not how I know him. I know him as his disgusting
From the tweet.
protruding nipples. Yeah.
Yeah, the one of the top 10 Trump tweets of all time. I retweeted it today when I was preparing for this episode because I was just laughing.
It has to be one of the top 10 tweets of all time.
He was
really
so
is.
real for it, too. I fucking hated Barney Frank since I first saw that motherfucker's face. That dude's fucking... What a demon. What an
I thought he's done a lot of
absolute...
good for children, but...
I mean, just the financialized... Like,
oh, sorry, different Barney.
I was like, whatever legislation he's talking about. No, he's just being cheeky, as his people say.
Yeah. But yeah, his today, because he was arguing against more regulations today, and I just was thinking his nipples were protruding, and it was disrespectful while he was doing that.
But that's the thing. I don't know about the Barney Frank stuff. And I know that a lot of these banks were allowed to diddle in the way they diddled because they were in this weird world where they'd repealed things under Trump that were specifically put in place to stop a situation exactly like this one happening. And Bernie Sanders went out and was like, we are going to have a bad situation.
Yeah.
Much
in an
like
empty
the
room.
financial crisis. And everyone was like, shut the fuck up, Bernie, you dumb bitch.
There's
All the
always
people
a
in
fucking
Congress
video.
just like being like, fuck off, Bernie, throwing shit at him.
There really is always a Bernie video, though. Where
Yeah, there's always a Bernie video. It's like,
There always
this
is.
bad thing is going to happen. And everyone just like jeering. Okay, it's not like Parliament in England where people actually do that. In England, if you say something that people disagree with, they just go, it's kind of cool. I wish they did it here.
I
love
wish
seeing
they
those
did it
videos.
here. Are there rules against? I assume there must be, but it would be really cool if they just started yelling at each other. We could probably we would have a second caning of Sumner in like the third day of it, but somebody would be beaten with a rod on the floor of the Congress.
I think we need that. Things are getting too boring.
I think we do need that.
What happens now? Is this just this like, because financial crisis was, I know it's not the same because the subprime mortgage is very different than what happened, but it did happen 15 years ago in March, I think is when shit started to go downhill. So are we in a situation where they're going to hem and haw in the Democratic primary, if we have one, about regulations that are just going to get overturned in...
No, I think that they're going to push these regulations through, and I don't get the sense. I think the Republicans are going to make some noise, but I don't think they're going to want this to happen again, even in Republican land. And they don't really have a good political position to argue against it. because usually they do their no big government thing, except the little Mr. Libertarian very loudly said, we need big government just this once, please.
It seems like they're just going to talk about wokeness. Like, that's
they'll
just
say
we don't.
They'll add some clause where like it can't be woke.
Yeah.
And a judge will be like, okay, well, that means nothing. So sure. Yeah, okay, it's not woke now. I'm a judge. This bank is not woke. Bang, bang, bang. There's my gavel. Fucking idiots. But if it doesn't, if we don't get regulation, this will happen precisely 1 minute again after people forget about it. It will be Credit Suisse also has a problem, but I think it's different. I don't understand. I'm fucking tired. I don't understand what's going on there, and I'm annoyed it's happening. It's personally inconveniencing me in the sense that I have to learn what it is, and I'm done learning stuff for the day. But I don't think the government is going to let these banks collapse because they've seen what that does in the past. And I think we will see some sensible legislation pushed through. And if Republicans push against it, they're going to be in some trouble. But the one worry I have is that Republicans might push against it by saying the woke left bailed out the banks. I thought you guys hated money. I honestly don't know how it will do. I really don't. I have been bathed in this for days. I'm fucking exhausted by it. Everyone is who's been dealing with it. Every single person in the Valley that I know is just kind of tired this week. And I think what we're gonna see is people in the Valley are gonna have to really decide how they want to be seen by the rest of the world, and I hope that changes things.
So I have a coworker at the school I work at. She runs the investment club at my school, and she told me yesterday, and I quote, "No matter who you bank with, take all of your money out of the bank today if you can. It's all going down. Invest in crypto and property. I am in my own bank. All of my money is tied up in my various properties." Do you think I should do what she's done and divest from the American system?
No. Fucking hell, no. Anyone who tells you to leave all the banks... What are you fucking talking about? Jesus H. Christ. You think being a leftist involves just leaving the economy entirely? I know it sucks. I know capitalism sucks, but you need a bank.
She's not a leftist. She is a landlord and an idiot.
Oh, so she's not human.
No. No. She's the other half black teacher in my department, so we get asked a lot of the same questions together, which is annoying. But
maybe the word might not be annoying; it might be just racist.
Well, I know they mean well. I don't want to be too harsh. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Ed. We deeply appreciate you ruining your brain and then dumping it out on the podcast here.
My pleasure. Love doing it.
Thanks for coming on for the third time. You are like a reigning champion for Western Kabuki.
The West End Kabuki master.
You are.
It's like the pre-hominids from 2001 Odyssey when they see the shrine, or what's it called? The fucking obelisk or whatever. Every time you come on here. Monolith, thank you. That's what Ed is. He's the monolith for this pod.
Oh, I thought I was just the man screaming at the monolith, because that also tracks.
Yeah, you're the monkey who tries to beat
hairy
you're the monkey that uses the femur to beat the other monkey. And you walk exactly the other monkey to death.
And the femur is my brand. Well, thank you for having me, though. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Give him those sweet, delicious plugs.
Yes, easy.substack.com, and you can find me on Twitter at EDZITRON. And that's where you can find me. And I will respond to at least 3 of your tweets if you ask me to.
Nice.
He's a man of his word. You can follow us at Western Kabuki. Please. This is a Patreon. Thank you for subscribing to the Patreon. We deeply appreciate it. And I assume if you're paying us, you must be following us already. So we deeply appreciate and love you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.